More information is coming in the Siders family case out of Hamden, Ohio, Vinton County, Ohio. That is already, I mean, I'm already infuriated. I don't like to walk around just being angry. Who wants to spend their life being angry, man? Oh, but yesterday I got fired up. I got fired up when I found out about the whole extended Siders family and their shenanigans. Let's call them that for now. Let's call them shenanigans for now with other children. And then finding out that the reason that cops were at the Omer address anyway, 182 Omer Street or Road or whatever it was there in Hamden, was because they had a warrant for DNA for Gary Jr. G2 because, oh my goodness, because they are implicated in said shenanigans. Oh my, so I don't want to walk around angry, but found out more stuff today about the Siders. We've got some court documents that we're going to go over. Uh, I think it's fair to say it's many court documents. It's all in one PDF, but we got that. We have got uh, an amazing investigative journalism article out of Los Angeles Magazine written by the incomparable Lauren Conlin about uh, uh, finding out that, like, dude, the Siders, there was a case against them beforehand. We learned a little bit about this before, but yeah, they have been on the radar of children's services for years. And back when they only had 10 children. So yeah, we got a lot to get into. We also are going to get into the family tree a little bit. We talked about yesterday the other the other stuff. They are extended family members, and we read how they're related, but I've got a graphic that I can show you so that we can really understand what's going on here. I'm sorry, it's going to make you mad. It's going to make you mad. It's not my intention, especially after I had such a terrific day. Dude, I went to bed at a reasonable hour. I got up before my alarm clock went off. I I just had a glorious and satisfying sneeze. I went on a walk today. I'm well hydrated today. I have eaten well today. It's been a good day, but we're about to get angry. Okay? We're about to get angry together. You will notice, by the way, if you're watching on the live stream on YouTube, that I have put in a goal for supers. And the reason I have done this is because anytime we talk about the Siders case, we're talking about ugly crimes against our most vulnerable, and YouTube goes, that is not advertiser friendly, and so they yank what monetization from the video. It doesn't put my channel in any danger, but the video itself just won't make any money. And so this is what I decided to do today. Instead of just saying thank you, I decided to use this velvety voice that was given to me by my mother and father. You'll notice the baritone, the baritone tone of my voice comes from my father, but the multivocal fold timbre comes from my mom. So I'm going to use the instrument that my parents gave me if we reach this goal, and I am going to record some outgoing voicemail messages for y'all. I don't know. Just seems like something fun to do. If we reach the goal, don't think I'm just going to be giving this away. All right, we got to reach that goal. This is how I earn my living these days, and boy, is it a pleasure to do so. But YouTube's making it hard. You know who's not making it hard though is Spotify. If you are a Spotify premium viewer or subscriber, man, please do me the honor and huge favor of watching over on Spotify. There's always a link in the description down below. If if you're on the rewatch crew, dude, go over there. And then thank you for watching wherever you watch and listening wherever you listen. You guys are awesome. What are we doing today? We're going to start with the question of the day. We do homework here these days. We're going to start with the question of the day. Get those thumbs exercising that you can type in to the live chat. Question of the day is, what's a small thing that you splurge on? What is something that you like to splurge on? Just a small thing. You don't have to tell me about your, uh, I don't know, bespoke butterfly collection. I'm talking like little things that you splurge on. I have some little things that I splurge on from time to time, and I would love, 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 love if you guys would answer that question. Of course, later on, we're going to get into 3 questions. We're also going to cover some headlines, the Carmelo Anthony case, the Lindsay Clancy trial. We've got some good news. It's animal related, but it's also related to the human spirit, which I really enjoy. And of course, we're going to get all into the Siders family updates. Javi, why don't you roll that intro? Here we go. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello there, my friend. Welcome back to another True Crime Conversation with me, Gavin Fish. Thank you very much for being here. Wherever here is for you, you could be somewhere around the fruited plain or around this beautiful blue planet of ours. Definitely check in with me in the comments. Put GF so I can see where you're checking in from. Tell me where you're tuning in from. Also, don't forget to answer that question of the day. What is something something small that you like to splurge on? And let's just get into it. Let's just get in. Well, first, let's thank Christine Meadows. Let's see if we can get this to come up. There we go, for her super chat. Thank you, Christine, for getting us started. I really appreciate you. Spice Aloud says, hi from South Carolina. I was just catching up on your video from yesterday. Well, we've got more. We got more, Spice. Montana is in the house. Michelle, I made a live and Gavin is late. What the heck is going on? Just kidding. I hope everyone is having a great day. Yeah, I will level with you, okay? I was like laying down on my purple couch, hanging out with my wife, petting the cat. I have no excuse for why I was late other than I'm like, oh, I got time. I got time. I didn't have time. I thought that I was all started up and I had forgotten that there were a couple other things that needed to be, another couple buttons that needed to be clicked that Javi isn't trained on, unfortunately. Let's see. Clarinet Girl says, thank you for continued coverage of the story. You and Brian Enton are the only 2 of my favorites doing this. This is first of all, you're welcome and thank you. Brian Enton is the man. And Lauren Conlin, I got to say, her coverage today, which we're going to get into, is amazing. Maine Coon Mama Nicole says, playables. You splurge on playables. Nice. Not things that are pliable, but we're talking la playa, la playa, as we would say in Argentina, playa balls. Very nice, very nice. RH Teddy likes to drink soda. Kimberly says Culver's mustard. Okay, very specific mustard. Montana Sunshine is all about the doTERRA oils. Robin says she buys stickers. I also share my stickers with our clients at the food shelf, with friends, with kids, with strangers. It's amazing what a sticker can do to bring a smile to someone. You know what's funny, Robin? You mentioned that. I grew up in a household where the humble bumper sticker was discouraged, even disallowed. Okay, and we don't do bumper stickers in our family either on our cars. I just feel like, why would you? Doesn't matter why I feel that way. I just do. I was kind of giving my niece a little crap about the back of her car being covered with stickers, just covered with stickers. I was like, man, who raised you? Of course, my sister and my brother-in-law, my beloved sister and beloved brother-in-law raised her. And I love them. And she's like, you know what? I am a grown woman. and I was not allowed to put bumper stickers on cars, and I'm a grown woman, and this is my car, and I'm putting stickers on it. And guys, you know what this is. You know what this is. Another fish tangent now. Woo! Yes, it is a tangent. Anyway, so I was giving her a little crap about this. Well, the other day, maybe a week ago, I was on a walking down the main street, and cars are passing, and there's lots of traffic where we live right now because of construction. And there in the traffic was definitely my niece, because it was definitely her car. It was covered definitely with her stickers. And it just brought a smile to my face. There she is, being a grown woman. There's my niece, who I love, being a grown woman, putting stickers all over her car because she can, dang it. So yeah, I'm with you. They brought a smile to my face. Kim Kroll says, I'm with Regina, crafting fabric yarn. And even then I find bargains. So it's good. Good for you. Becky says, my morning beverage is brewed cacao instead of coffee. No caffeine, extremely delicious, but not cheap. I am worth it. Brewed cacao. See, I am not a coffee drinker. I'm really not even a hot chocolate drinker. And these days, I'm not even a drinker of things that have calories, basically. But I will have to look into that. That sounds delicious. Natalie says, vintage teapots and teacups. I have so many, and it's never enough. They're so beautiful, and my favorite art form. I have green tea every day as a ritual. Good for you. That sounds fun. Oh, it just refreshed. Give me a second. Elizabeth McMaster says, I've discovered Americano coffee espresso, and now I must have them several times a week. Kimberly says, I splurge on my coffee and coffee accessories. Michelle says, I'm forgiven. Good. Kim says, what is in my cup today? Just the humble water today. Just water. It is delicious. It comes from my water drop reverse osmosis system. Nina says, I'm inclined to spoil myself with organic food. I like to cook and use good products for that purpose. Ooh, we were at our friend's house in St. Louis, and she was all about the high quality foods. It was awesome. Regina is a craftaholic. Mooney splurges on buying seeds for the garden. Wish y'all lived closer. I have cucumbers for days. I just learned recently that dill pickles are a low-calorie food. Like, on labels, they even say 0 calories. They probably have some calories, but I wish I had some cucumbers right now. Make my own little gherkins. Clarinet Girl splurges on a steak dinner. Let me tell you something funny about me before we wrap this up. My wife is a vegetarian. She has not had meat since she was about 16 years old. And of course, I'm a carnivore. I did live just eating vegan food for a year, and did the vegetarian thing, I think, for a total of 4 years, I think, including the vegan year. I think it's 4 years, maybe 5 years. Can't remember. But once we moved out to Western Pennsylvania and I could responsibly source meat products, then I was all about it. Anywho, my wife, I've never seen my wife eat meat because she hasn't since she was 16 years old. And so it's gotten into my mind that it's just a very feminine, ladylike thing to not eat steak. It's so stupid. When we go out to dinner with friends and everybody just eats normal food, I'm like, no, that's not nearly as beautiful as my wife. So dumb. Daisy says, I splurge on my favorite chocolate candy twice a month. What is your favorite chocolate candy, Daisy? As a chocolate connoisseur. Natalie says, I'm afraid to have car bumper stickers. I have the irrational fear someone somewhere on the road will have an issue with a like of mine and rear end me. Paranoid, I know. That's funny. That is really funny. My floor cleaner, says Maverick's mom. It makes my house smell so good. Let's see. Becky says, Gavin, in the city I lived in until last year, there was a small car that was unique, completely covered with stickers all over, not just the bumpers, very little paint showing. They were expressing themselves. Maverick's mom says it takes more calories to digest a cucumber than it has in it. I see. That's okay. I get it. Very cool. Geraldine says, what time is it where I am? I am in Western Pennsylvania, which is in the Eastern time zone. So it is 6:20 p.m. Natalie says dill pickles are the perfect snack. So yeah, I recently learned that and need to get in. I love dill pickles, first of all. Love them. But that I need to make that my thing, right? Mine, I like the, well, if I'm going to buy something at the store, it's going to be a Clausen pickle. But if like at Aldi, sometimes they have like small batch pickles, fresh dill pickles that haven't gone through a long brining period. They're very good. Very good, everybody. Yeah, okay. I got to get into that. I got to get into that. All right. Oh, and I'm still on this tangent. No, the gherkin is maybe the world's perfect food. It has the right amount of spicy. It has the right amount of sour. It's just delicious. And yep, I need to. Okay, all right. I think I know what I'm doing tonight after the show. I think I'm going to be going out to the grocery store and buying some pickles because now I need me some pickles. Guys, we got to stop. We got to stop. I got to stop. Thank you so much for playing along. It's so much fun. I love this question of the day thing that we've been doing. It's fun. And we get to know each other. That's awesome. Linda, I did see, yes, Dolly Parton has passed away at the age of 80. She passed away today. Let me just say, like, I don't idolize people. I'm not a collector of autographs. I'm not a person who's really into celebrity. But Dolly Parton is somebody who is easy for me to admire. Certainly she had her quirks. She had her weirdnesses, but man, just the wit, the musical talent, the ability to play in open chords with those long fingernails, right? And I mean, she penned one of the most beautiful songs of maybe the entire 20th century. Uh, just yeah, beyond. And we've invoked Dolly Parton several times over the years here on this channel. I followed Dolly's advice. Her thing was like Republicans and Democrats buy music, so I'm staying out of it, right? And that's how, you know, she had her own political views, I'm sure, but she didn't have to share them with the world because she loved everybody. And I have tried really hard to follow in her footsteps that way. And every time I saw her on some talk show or whatever, I just enjoyed the daylights out of her. She seemed completely real in all of her fakeness. which was just so on brand for her. It's so awesome. So the world will never see another Dolly Parton. I did write, if you guys aren't following me on Facebook, I'll bring it up here real quick. I did write just my own brand of, I guess, I don't know how I would, uh, what would you call it? I don't know. I don't know. My thoughts about Dolly Parton. I'll bring it up here real quick so you guys can see. Um, I wrote she was 62% spunk, 28% grit, 94% talent, 44% graciousness, 17% generosity, 38% compassion. I just realized I haven't resized this so you guys can't see it. Let me bring that in there. There we go. 82% wit and 100% timelessness. She was larger than life. Farewell, Dolly. There'll never be another like you. And that's exactly how it should be. Dolly Parton dead at the age of 80 today. It was announced by her family. And may we all be a little bit like her. She's pretty rad. Pretty rad girl. Okay. Guys, who are we talking about today? We are talking about this guy right here, Gary Siders Jr., Gary Siders the second, Gary Siders the younger, I call him G2. His wife, Elizabeth Siders, his mother, Christina Siders, and his father, Gary Siders the elder. Just a quick recap on the case, right? On June 30th, June 30th, so about almost 2 months ago. Oh, dude, I just realized it's the 25th. In 3 days, it will have been a year since I decided to get healthy. I cannot believe the time has gone by so quickly. And I'm not quite to my goal, but anyway, tangent, Gavin, tangent. Yeah, definitely, yeah, it's a tangent.
Oh, attention! Attention!
Yeah, that was my fault. Anyway, about 2 months ago, June 30th, police go to the home of these 4 people, the Siders, and they are there, we learned just over the last few days, not because of the misdemeanor charges against G2 for public indecency. Nay, it was for something felonious that he and his wife Elizabeth are charged with, having to do with the SA of a child. So they were there to serve a warrant to collect DNA, and while there, discovered 16 children in this so-called, they call it the House of Horrors, right? In Hamden, a little house, and they described these 16 children being crowded into a 12 by 12 room. I think that's a little bit of a exaggeration, but what is not an exaggeration is the absolute mess, the mugre, the filth, the unhealthy living conditions that this family had been living in, including 16 children that are purportedly all children of Elizabeth Siders and Gary Siders II, though I have my doubts on that. But we're going to find out about that, hopefully, eventually, right? But this house was so disgusting, and so they removed the children from the home, and they charged the Siders adults each, originally with 17, then with 16 charges of child endangerment, and then those charges were put in front of a grand jury, and those felony 2 counts were all kind of redone. The indictment that came out of the grand jury was slightly different. Gary 2, Elizabeth, and Christina all came out with 19 charges each. Gary 1 with 16, and it's a blend of felony 2s, felony 3s, and misdemeanors. But we also learned that another member of the Siders, 2 other members of the Siders family had been investigated for SA of children, and that implicated G2 and Elizabeth. So this case is growing. The Attorney General's office called this 3 separate investigations. And that's not even including the misdemeanor counts of public indecency. So there's really like 4, right? So we got big problems in Little Hamden. So I think where I want to start, actually, I'm going to do it backwards from what I planned. I want to bring you over to this article. Let's see. Yeah, we're gonna come over here. This is from the local NBC affiliate, NBC4 Investigates, written by Katie Millard. She has done terrific reporting so far. We have shared several of her stories that she's written for NBC4i. And we had questions yesterday about, wait a minute, how are all these people connected? Right? Because there are 2 people that were being investigated. And I can bring this up now. Let's see, right here. This is a family tree. This is my version of it that was basically I don't know. It was gleaned out by the NBC4i crew, right? But starting at the top with Gary Siders Sr. and Christina Siders, that's G1, this guy, and his wife, Christina. On this family tree, they have they have daughters as well, but they're just showing how these two cases are connected, right? So coming down from Gary Sr. and Christina, they have Gary Siders Jr., who is married to Elizabeth Siders, who have 16 children, right? And then they have Virginia Siders Saunders, who was once married to Joshua D. Saunders, who has been in prison since 2009. Those two have a son named Josh Saunders, right? He might be Josh Jr. or something like that. Now, Virginia, Josh Saunders' mom, and the daughter of Gary and Christina, if you can see this family tree map, hopefully it's making sense. She has an unmarried life partner named Brandon Henderson. And there is another daughter, but we don't know if that girl is the daughter of Joshua Saunders or Brandon Henderson. Either way, Virginia Siders Saunders has her son Josh and a daughter who's unnamed on this. Okay? And of course they have other daughters. They have 3 other daughters as well. So there's Gary Jr. and 4 sisters. But anyway, so the names that we want to pay close attention to are Brandon Henderson and Josh Saunders. So Josh Saunders is the nephew of Gary Siders and Elizabeth Siders, and the grandson of Gary Siders Sr. and Christina Siders. Brandon Henderson is what we would call, were they married, the brother-in-law of Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders, and the son-in-law of Gary Siders Sr. and Christina Siders. Okay, that's how they're connected. I'll share this on my Facebook page so that you guys can see it. Okay, you can just go to Facebook and check it out. I'll put it in the tank as well. Put it into the fish tank. Anywho, okay, coming over to Katie's article, records detail connection between Siders family newly charged men. Okay, Dateline MacArthur, Ohio. NBC4 Investigates is diving into the connection between the Siders family, whose 16 children were rescued from a Vinton County home on June 30th, and 2 men charged in a parallel investigation. And then the nut graph tells all about the case, which we already know. Okay, in a third, let's see. Actually, the nut graph, let me read the third sentence. Gary Jr. and Elizabeth Siders were also indicted on child SA charges, facing 2 counts of SB and 2 counts of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor each. Okay. In a third tangentially connected case, Josh Saunders the third, okay, age 23. That's Josh, son of Joshua D. Saunders and Virginia Siders Saunders. Joshua Saunders the third, 23, and Brandon Henderson Sr., 40. Oh my goodness. Guys, look. I people get to name their children the way they name their children, but the senior junior thing just kills me. I'm sorry, it just does. I'm named after my father, right? And I'm proud to carry his name, but they gave me a different middle name so that there's no confusion. But okay, I get it. There's tradition. This is a me thing. I just need to relax, but okay. So we've got Josh Saunders the third. We've got Josh Saunders Jr. apparently. I whatever. So, and then we've got Brandon Henderson Sr. We've got so many seniors, juniors, seconds, then the thirds. It's hard to keep track of it, but we do have this family tree to look after. Okay. So Josh Saunders the third, 23, and Brandon Henderson Sr., 40, were also indicted on child SA charges. Saunders is facing 3 counts of the old R word that rhymes with grape, and 1 count of gross sexual imposition. Henderson was indicted on 21 charges. 21 charges, including endangering children, gross sexual imposition, and sexual battery. I have got this. I've got the file from the court, by the way, but it doesn't have. I said this yesterday. It doesn't have a narrative in terms of like the way normal probable cause affidavits have. It just has the charges that on this date he did this to this person, redacted. He is charged with this. Then the next charge, the next charge, the next charge. So it really doesn't tell us much. But 21 charges. Okay, Ohio Attorney General Andy Wilson said there were 3 investigations occurring simultaneously, with the first 2 child SA cases leading to the discovery of the 16 rescued children. Wilson said the cases were an intra-family investigation. According to public records, Saunders is a cousin to the 16 children. Again, if we look at this, the 16 kids would be first cousins with Josh Saunders, and I guess nieces and nephews of Virginia and her life partner Brandon Henderson. So, let's see if there's anything more. Yeah, and then it just goes into. Records show that Joshua D. Saunders Jr., which is Virginia's husband, has been in an Ohio prison since 2009 on a murder charge. Boy, does this family have issues, man. This family got issues. Around the same time, Virginia Saunders began a relationship with Henderson, the other man charged in the case. Records show the two were living together in 2010 and 11 as they were jointly evicted twice. And then it gives more information. But that is the dealio. Okay, and I think I have. Let me bring up from yesterday. Give me a second. Yeah, here we go. I'll show you some photos. This is Joshua Saunders the third, the 23-year-old up on top, and Brandon Henderson Sr., the 40-year-old bald bearded fellow there. So in this family, let's just take a moment. Okay? We've got a convicted murderer. We have got we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 alleged sexual abusers of children. And we have got 4 basically child abusers, right? Through alleged. That's where we are in this case. This is a family with issues, man. With issues. I can't even believe it. Just how bad this family is. It's just nuts. Absolutely nuts. Let me go over to your comments here real quick. Thank you very much to Nina Pokora for the £5 super chat. Appreciate you. Thank you for doing that. Let me just go to a couple of your comments. Natalie says, wow, this tree is perfect and very clear. I can bring it up one more time so that we can take a look at it. And again, we can credit NBC4i for putting this all together through their article. Therese Armstrong says, Gavin, there's another sister of G2, Amanda, who goes by Mandy, which has custody of Virginia's daughter and the daughter's baby, where the father of the baby is unknown. Yeah, they're just issues here. You know, guys, there are days when I'm just so grateful for the simplicity of a happy nuclear family. I don't mean to rub it in, because not everybody gets to have like a really happy childhood and siblings that they love and parents that they love who, like, not everybody gets that. And so I don't mean to like rub it in, but dude, I've got parents who love each other, who love their children. And us kiddos, we love them right on back. And all of us have married or have partnered with terrific people that we all love. And they've all had children that we all love. And those children now have had children that we all just love. And it's so simple and so easy. Nary a murderer or child abuser among us. Like, oh my goodness, hopefully, you never know. I guess you never know. But my goodness. This is a complex family dynamic, man. They've made life so hard on themselves. Elizabeth says, Gavin, I agree. I was named after my grandmother, as was my cousin. I eventually changed my first name to my middle because I hated it. Interesting. I was always called by my middle name. I wish my parents would have swapped it and just called me Gavin as my first name. But, I mean, I'm too old now to do anything about it. It doesn't matter. Montana Sunshine says, one of my twins was named after his father as a junior, but his father was never a senior, so I don't know where they get the senior junior from. I think once you have a junior, you become a senior. And you don't have to. You don't have to. But you can put senior on things. And then after junior comes, I think, the second. I think that's how that works. But everybody does it different. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. That's why I'm all confused. I just call them G1 and G2. It's painful. This family is painful. Becky Johnson, who's the murderer? The murderer is up in the upper left-hand corner where you've got a red flag that says in prison since 2009. That is Joshua D. Saunders. He is the murderer. MSC says, I'm pretty sure the brother-in-law gave a short interview a month or so ago. Yeah, I do remember a couple of interviews that were given. Melissa saying, that's putting it mildly. Yes. Teresa says, this family is sick. Hopefully the children were not abused. Oh, man, I hope so. I mean, other than the fact that they were in that house, right? Other than having to live in that, I just hope that there is time for these kiddos to blossom into the potential adults that they can be, that they can overcome this. It's very hard to overcome your childhood, but I'm hoping that they will. Nitty Kitty says Elizabeth's brother Joey is reporting the 14-year-old's baby is Brandon's. Yeah, so that's why they want DNA. Oh my goodness. So the 14-year-old oh, dude. Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, I mean, so the daughter is the 14-year-old, is that what we're saying? Nitty Kitty, the daughter where it says parentage of the girl is currently unknown, could be either Joshua or Brandon's. That if she's 14, then I mean the not the indictment, the charging document says, or I'm sorry, the Attorney General's media release said between the ages of, well, it said a 13-year-old who had been abused for the last 5 years. So that was my Madeline Soda moment that just got me angry yesterday, man. This is messed up. Messed up, man. Messed up. Okay. I just, yeah. Yeah. And Maine Coon Mama Nicole saying, makes me wonder about G1. Yeah. That's why I've been, okay. So I will stipulate that according to hospital records, all 16 children were born to Elizabeth Siders, plus the 2 that didn't survive, the conjoined twins. That sadly, those twins did not survive. I will stipulate to that, but Yana, I will not stipulate to those 16 children being the children of Gary Siders Jr. Not all of them. Knowing what is going on in this family, I would imagine that some of them might be G1s, might be Brandons, might be Josh's. Who knows? The incestual relationship that's going on here. Like, who knows? It was described as intrafamilial. So the victim, it wouldn't be intrafamilial if there was somebody not in the family. Interfamilial would be like within their nuclear family. Intrafamilial would be in their extended family. That's how I'm reading it. So, yeah, this incestuous relationship is just it's too much is what it is. It's too much. Mother of Dragon says, I feel like Elizabeth was forced. I was forced into stuff when I was with my ex and was not a minor, but very disgusting stuff. Could be. Yeah. Both things can be true here. She could be a victim and a perpetrator. Like she still would have to be responsible for her actions, even though she may be a victim of other people in that family. It's, so tough. Montana Sunshine says the daughter is also Virginia, now lives with a sister. They took G2's DNA too, so she might be his, possible. Yeah, says Cornbread. Gen Z saying, like Elizabeth Siders was in on abuse in 2022. She's been pregnant this whole time. I don't get it. Well, I think that we can be told these things, but they probably, because of the nature of the crimes and the nature of the victims, they probably won't tell us specifically. But they have charged Elizabeth. So it's just, oh my goodness. Let's see. Yeah, Melissa, why they want G2's DNA. Yeah, I think we're all reading that correctly. All right, give me a second. Okie dokie. Let us. Okay, so that clears that up. We know who they are in the family. There are still some questions about who has sired whom, but I think those questions will be answered in time. But there's more. Okay, there's more, and this, thanks to the investigative reporting of Lauren Conlin, written in LA Magazine. Lauren, by the way, is somebody who I really look up to journalistically. She's amazing. Let me bring you over to this article. This was written today. Okay. Headline is Shocking New Records Reveal Earlier Child Welfare Investigation into Siders Family. Written by Lauren Conlin for LA Magazine. Newly obtained Gallia County court records show investigators were concerned about the Siders' children and conditions inside the family home as far back as 2020. This is years before the same 16 children were removed from a Hamden house, and a new investigation resulted in twisted, new SA and child endangerment indictments. This is so well written, Lauren. Amid a new wave of indictments against Gary Siders Jr., Elizabeth Siders, Gary Siders Sr., Christina Siders, and two other men connected to the larger investigation, Josh Saunders and Brandon Henderson Sr., juvenile court records reviewed by Los Angeles show, which means Los Angeles Magazine, show child welfare had intervened with members of the Siders family more than 5 years earlier. The newly obtained records from a Los Angeles FOIA request came from Gallia County, Ohio, and date to late 2020 and 2021. They show that parallel juvenile cases were opened for the children in the household, with individual case numbers assigned to each child, but with the same allegations, filings, and court proceedings repeated across the cases. In the records, Gary Siders II and Elizabeth Siders are identified as the parents. According to an affidavit from Gallia County Children's Services, I'm going to show you this affidavit, by the way, so there's going to be a little bit of a repeat here, but Lauren writes so beautifully, we got to keep reading. According to an affidavit from Gallia County Children's Services caseworker Aaron R. Cantor, the agency began investigating the family on December 7th, 2020, after concerns involving high levels of lead in several children. Isn't that interesting? That it was lead. that was detected in the children that led LED to the investigation. A caseworker went to the home the following day but was denied access to the children, according to the filing. The worker returned December 9th and was reluctantly allowed inside. What the caseworker described went well beyond concerns about lead exposure. The affidavit cited an infestation of roaches, flies, and gnats, concerns about the cleanliness of the house and children, missed medical appointments, and difficulties even identifying some of the children. The filing also described concerns about one young child's speech development or lack thereof, bruising, and whether the children were receiving appropriate medical care. Again, the caseworker also noted they were barred from entering the home when they attempted to investigate. Children's Services told the court it believed the children were at risk of harm and sought court-ordered protective supervision. At a January 26, 2021 shelter care hearing, the court found there were reasonable grounds to believe the child named in that particular case was, quote, in danger from her surroundings, close quote, and that protective supervision was necessary to prevent physical or emotional harm. The children were not removed from the parents at that point, which I don't get. But okay. Continuing Lauren's article, the court ordered that they remain in the custody of Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders while Gallia County Job and Family Services provided ongoing protective supervision. Court records show parallel cases were filed for the individual children, each carrying its own juvenile case number. Court dockets reflect the proceedings. You know, this is reminding me of something. I have to go on a little bit. Well, that's not really a tangent. We moved out here to Western Pennsylvania after having grown up in the suburbs of Sacramento, California. We were not in a particularly wealthy area, neither my wife nor I. We were in, middle income, middle class neighborhoods. And we moved into a beautiful Norman Rockwell looking house in a Norman Rockwell looking town. But it was not long before we were kind of sucked into this kind of stuff. I remember we were asked to help move a family. This was very early on, from a house that they were renting to another house that they would be renting, because the house that they were in was being condemned and they were not allowed to live there anymore. And when we went in there, we saw sites similar to this. And we're like, that's gross. That's weird. Similar to how the Siders were living. That is gross. That is weird. Okay. And then it wasn't too much longer later, maybe a couple months later, maybe 3 or 4 months later. I don't remember, but we were asked again, hey, can we help this family move from their house? They're being evicted. Yes, we can help. We go there and we see a different family, similar site. And then it wasn't too much longer after that, maybe 6 months. Hey, can we help move so-and-so from their house? They're moving to a new house. I don't remember the reason why. We go there and we see this. And the people that we are helping move behave as if this is just normal, man. That this is the way people live. And I could not believe, I still can't wrap my head around it. It's all around me with people that I know. Maybe not quite to the extent of the Siders family, but like this poverty-stricken, maybe mentally diseased, and probably, in this case, I'm still holding on to it, though it's never been brought up. Probably substance dependency, or what's the right way to say it? Substance dependence driven lifestyle. It still just absolutely blows my mind. And these poor caseworkers that walk into this, they probably see it all the time, man. Especially in a place like Hamden. I bet they see it all the time. Okay. Court dockets reflect, continuing Lauren's article, court dockets reflect the proceedings were followed by review hearings, while protective supervision continued, but the children remained in the care of Gary Jr. and Elizabeth. The court also appointed a CASA guardian ad litem to independently represent the interests of the children and authorized the GAL to obtain records relevant to the investigation. Not sure what GAL is. Is that the court or is that the family services? I don't know. Gallia. I don't know. Okay. By May 2021, court records show the children were still living with their parents under Children's Services supervision, with another review hearing scheduled for August. It's unclear to Los Angeles Magazine if there was a permanent resolution other than the Siders family eventually moving out of Gallia County. The old juvenile records take on new meaning following Friday's indictments in neighboring Vinton County. The Ohio Attorney General's office announced that a grand jury returned indictments stemming from 3 related investigations involving alleged child SA and child endangerment. The investigation began in December 2025 with allegations of SA involving 2 children and eventually led authorities to the Siders family. Josh Saunders, 23. Let's bring this back up here. Josh Saunders, who is the son of Virginia Siders Saunders in this graphic, was indicted on 3 counts of, I'm going to be demonetized, just say it, 3 counts of rape and 1 count of gross sexual imposition. Brandon Henderson Sr., the domestic partner of Virginia Saunders, age 40, was indicted on 21 counts, including rape, gross sexual imposition, child endangerment, and charges involving obscene material. Vinton County prosecutors say information uncovered during that investigation led the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation to open a second investigation in March involving alleged unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. That investigation led to Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders, who were each indicted on 2 counts of sexual battery and 2 counts of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. Authorities allege the conduct occurred between January and September 2022 and involved a minor more than 10 years younger than the couple, which they were in their 30s. So I think the specification that the minor was more than 10 years younger probably carries some sort of added circumstance in Ohio law. The investigation brought authorities to the Siders' Omer Street home in Hamden on June 30th while looking to obtain Gary Jr.'s DNA in connection with the sex abuse investigation. Authorities discovered 16 children living in conditions investigators described as deplorable, triggering a third investigation and eventual charges. Gary Jr., Elizabeth, Gary Sr., and Christina Siders have since been indicted on numerous child endangerment charges connected to the conditions in which authorities say the children were living. The Saunders and Henderson names also intersect with the Siders family beyond the initial investigative trail. Family records identify Virginia Siders Saunders as Gary Siders Jr.'s sister. Virginia married Joshua D. Saunders in 2003. The newly indicted 23-year-old Josh Saunders is reportedly Virginia's son. Again, I will bring this up so you can see how that works. That family relationship is potentially important because prosecutors have characterized the sex abuse investigation as involving intra-family relationships, while stressing that the alleged conduct does not present a danger to the general public. Excuse me. The newly released juvenile records establish something that predates the current criminal investigation by years. Child welfare authorities had already entered a Siders family home, documented troubling conditions, taken the matter before a juvenile court, and obtained court-ordered protective supervision for the children beginning in early 2021. What happened after those cases, including how long Children's Services remained involved and why court supervision ultimately ended, could now become a major part of understanding the history leading up to the 2026 investigation. I think I've shared this with you before, or maybe I talked with Elizabeth Jones uh, on this channel about this. Um, there was a famous case back in the 60s or 70s in Nevada. An entrepreneur, let's call him, named Joe Conforti. Joe Conforti ran a brothel, and he had the novel approach to purchase land, or I think there were multiple parcels of land, all congruent, all connected to one another. But with those parcels of land, he had lots in 4 different counties. If this is all coming from memory, it may have been 3 counties. It was more than 2. I think it was 4. And of course, it was kind of out in the middle of Nowheresville, northern Nevada, out near Mustang. If you guys have ever heard of the Mustang Ranch, it was out in that area. And he had the novel idea of putting his brothel in a trailer, like a single wide trailer, and keeping the wheels on the trailer and keeping it hitched up to a truck. So that when he got word from payoffs to people in these little towns that, hey, the popo were coming to arrest him, he would literally just fire up the tractor and tug that brothel however many 50 feet over to the other county. And so the county that was after him would come and go, oh, we have no jurisdiction here, turn around. Sometimes they would they'd charge him, take him to jail, and then he'd beat the charges, right? And then that county would start getting all in a huff that a brothel was in their county, and can you believe the what's going on out there? And he would get word that he was about to get arrested, fire up the tractor, take it to the next county over, the entire 20 yards, whatever it took. The reason I bring this up is this appears to be what happened with the Siders family. They are a family that is under scrutiny by multiple courts in multiple jurisdictions, the schools, the Child Protective Services, and they just seem to pick up and go. So were the juvenile court proceedings just dropped because they were no longer in the county, like happened with the truancy stuff? I don't know. But it kind of demonstrates to me what is the Elizabeth would know this, but like the consciousness of guilt. They knew that they were doing wrong, and they're running. That's what it looks like to me. And I don't know if that's the case, but that's what it looks like, right? I do have the document here, and it's not that I sleuthed out the document or anything. Lauren attached it to her article at LA Mag, and this is the entire docket. Looks like it was printed out on July 30th. So they've had this for a few weeks before they published it. But let me go down to this complaint real quick, okay? It's 38 pages. I'll put it in. I'll upload it to Patreon, okay? All right, so this was the 21st date of January 2021. Alleged dependent child. The undersigned, after being duly sworn according to law, says that Aaron R. Cantor, caseworker, has knowledge of a certain child, to wit, J.S., 1 year old, who appears to be a dependent child, that in the county of Gallia, state of Ohio, on or about the 21st day of January 2021, the said J.S. is dependent in that his condition or environment is such as to warrant the state, in the interests of said child, in assuming their guardianship in violation of section 2151.04 of the Ohio Revised Code. Wherefore, Gallia County Children's Services is requesting court-ordered protective supervision of all the children until such time their safety and well-being can be assured. Complainant further says that said child now resides at 38 Garfield Avenue in Gallipolis, Ohio, that the names and addresses of the parents of said child, Gary Siders II, father, and Elizabeth Siders, mother, and then their address, and that said children are currently in the care and custody of G2, father, and Elizabeth, mother. And then, there's the signatures, and then there's more. Okay. At this time in 2021, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 children. CS, ZS, CS, KS, BS, GS, LS, VS, JS, and ES. Notice that the 1-year-old in question is not the youngest on that list, assuming they are in order of birth. That's an assumption, but I think I'm right there. Okay, Aaron R. Cantor of Gallia County Department of Jobs and Family Services, being duly sworn, hereby alleges and attests to the following regarding the above named children. They're in the care and custody of their parents. This agency initiated an investigation on December 7th, 2020 regarding GJV and LS, GJV and L Siders. It was reported that all 4 children had high levels of lead in their system. There were concerns that parents, Elizabeth and Gary, were not completing medical follow-ups. The medical staff had reported that high levels of lead can lead to developmental delays. During the initiation, on December 8th, 2020, C.W. Cantor was denied access to the home and asked to come back because the children were sleeping. At the beginning of this agency's investigation, caseworker Cantor was allowed access into the home on December 9th, 2020, but access to the children was denied. While in the home, concerns were raised due to a high population of roaches, flies, and gnats. After further investigation, the family has now become compliant with medical appointments, but medical staff are concerned that the family will stop coming to appointments once the case is closed, as this happened the last time the family had an open case. So not the first case. The children's medical provider and caseworker Cantor are in contact often regarding the well-being of the children. The physician has stated the children have an odor but seem to be in good health. The physician is concerned about B's teeth, as they are not in good condition. Caseworker Cantor is also worried about L's speech, as she is almost 5 years old and cannot speak any clear language. 5 years old, almost, and could not speak a language that was discernible. That, guys, at church, just this last Sunday, Kimberly and I were working in the nursery, having full-on conversations with 2-year-olds, right? Simple conversations, but meaningful and delightful little conversations, I might add, with little ones. Of course, we've raised 5 children as well. Like, I could reason with our oldest daughter when she was 2, and this child can't speak a discernible language by 5. I mean, let's ask Uncle Google here real quick. When are children supposed to be able to speak? Children usually say their first single words around 12 months of age. 12 to 18 months, they say 1 to 2 simple, meaningful words like mama or hi. 18 to 24 months, vocabulary grows to about 10 to 50 words. Children begin putting 2 words together, such as more milk. 2 to 3 years, children use short phrases or sentences and know hundreds of words. Yeah. So, plus they got lead in their bodies, dude. Come on. Okay. Caseworker Cantor would like L to have a speech evaluation to address this concern. Though the concerns, and remember that was one of the things that they said when the 16 children were found, is that some of them couldn't communicate. Is L Siders one of those children that 5 years later, at the age of 10, still couldn't communicate? Possible, right? We don't know. Though the concerns of medical neglect have been addressed and resolved, the refusal to access of the upstairs of the home and the children raises new concerns. Due to there being circular linear bruising on the back of C's, a child, thigh, and the lack of being able to see the children now, caseworker Cantor now has concerns of possible abuse and or severe neglect. Caseworker Cantor also saw insect bites on L's arms along with scratches. Looks like they did not redact this. We will say L also was tugging her ear and scratching her head profusely. The parents were questioned regarding the bruising. They became agitated and stated they were unaware of any bruising. The parents also stated that B has one cavity on her baby tooth and are not concerned about it. Caseworker Cantor has noticed the parents are always in the same clothing and do not have consistent hygiene, nor do the children. Therefore, due to the concerns noted above, Gallia County Department of Jobs and Family Services regards the above-named children as being at risk for harm and dependency and is requesting court-ordered protective supervision of all the children until such time their safety and well-being can be assured. This action appears to be in the best interests of the children. Further efforts to prevent this action are not possible at this time. And I think this is the same one here. Oh, this is the order for hearing, right? Summons. This is another summons. What is this form? This is a financial disclosure form. Interesting. Okay, they're on Medicaid. They're on food stamps. Oh, this is presumptive eligibility, Medicaid and food stamps. Let's see if there's any total income. Nothing in there showing income or expenses. Some expenses. Rent was $350. Utilities, $250. She signed it but didn't put any income. Here's Gary Lee Siders Jr., self-employed, $1,500 a month. My goodness. Okay. Then this is the judgment, right? Saying, yeah. Okay. So I will post this. I'll post it on Patreon for my patrons, and if you want to grab it, you can either become a patron, which I would deeply appreciate, or go to Lauren's article on LA Magazine and you can get it there. But the other thing that we gleaned out here that I think I missed in Lauren's article is that this is at least the second case. At least the second case. Back in 2021. Let's see what you guys are saying over here in the old comment-a-rooney. Let's see. Melissa saying the dysfunction is nuts. And I think this came in before we really got in there. Natalie saying, I hope this is an isolated family incident. I hope they didn't see this as normal in their community from other families. Oh. Well, my experience out in this part of Appalachia, not too far from Hamden, Ohio, is that this is societal. There are plenty of people like this. It's really sad. Ramona says, the lead indication takes me back to pictures of the walls in the basement where the drywall was gone halfway up to the wall. I wondered if they had been eating it. Yeah. Penguin, a second is named after a grandfather or great-grandfather or uncle or older cousin, some relative that's not the father. Okay. Melissa says, Ohio dropped the ball on this big time. Yep. Becky says, you're describing my ex-husband, lazy AF, no substance, just plain a lazy pig. Interesting. Oh, GAL is guardian ad litem. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. Couldn't figure out what that was. I need you guys. You guys, We have the best. We have the best viewers. Natalie saying, am I misremembering that Vinton County, Ohio claimed they didn't know about the existence of the children, but clearly that's not true with this new info, or perhaps they were living somewhere else? I don't remember specifically anybody claiming that they didn't know about the children. I don't remember that specifically. Mooney says, CASA is court-appointed special advisors. Thank you. You guys are awesome. And Elizabeth tells us what a guardian ad litem is. It's an attorney appointed to represent the best interest of the children in the case. I used to do this work, and it's heartbreaking in most cases. Oh, I bet it is. Goodness. Gavin, after this court supervision, is that when the ciders moved? Yes. And it's unclear if it stopped. Well, I'm sorry, Mooney. Let me just rephrase this. It's unclear if it was after the court supervision ended or during court supervision. It's hard to say. It's tough. A couple more. Ms. Bree says there should be a national database of DFS so when people move and they enroll the kids in school or go to a doctor or hospital, they can be notified of the contact information. That is a great idea. Great idea. A couple more. Information junkie likes to splurge on small dogs. Named my last one Gavin Fish. That's funny. Amethyst says, any of us who thought our family had issues have no issues compared to these guys. Yeah, they're all self-brought on and perpetuated, right? Genzi says, I'd still like to know why Elizabeth was not in handcuffs when they were all taken to the station. Yeah. Crazy. Robin says, my daughter was diagnosed with a language processing disorder, receptive and expressive. She was getting intervention as early as 3. Thank you, Robin. That's, yeah, you would notice by then, right? Oh, Teresa, listen, Teresa, this is a great comment. But you, ew. Teresa's comment, for those of you who are just listening, says, Gavin, they continue to do the deed despite the lack of hygiene. Gross. Yes, it is gross. Oh my goodness. Ew. Ew. Melissa says this is maddening. Oh, the paint has lead. Maybe they were eating the walls that had leaded paint. I follow you now. I follow you. That's a great, it's a great theory. It's probable. Not only possible, it's probable. They're kids. They put stuff in their mouths, even if they weren't doing it because they were hungry, right? Maybe they're just kids and they're like, yeah. Gen Z doing the deed, filthy, gross, ew, you people. I used to think this was the classiest chat on YouTube. No, it was a good comment. I just don't want to think about it. Ew. Grody. All right. Let's stop our coverage of this case there. I'm sure there will be more tomorrow. It's just crazy what is going on. But if you think we're finished with today's live stream, you are wrong, my friend, because we have got some news in the Carmelo Anthony appeal, in the Lindsay Clancy trial. Of course, we've got some good news, but before we get into any of that, how about we answer some questions? Here we go.
It's 3 questions with Gavin Fish.
Pow! Hey guys, in this segment, I answer 3 of your questions that you send in to me at the email address on your screen, 3questions@gavinfish.com, 3questions@gavinfish.com, spelled out, no digits, THREE questions@gavinfish.com. My solemn pledge is that I will answer all of your questions. I will not dodge anything. Anything is on the table. They can be simple questions. You could be asking about the mysteries of the universe to some guy on the internet named Gavin Fish, and I will answer them. But I get to do it in the order that I choose, and I get to do it 3 at a time. Question number 1 comes in from Beth. Beth asks, what is one dessert you would never turn down? And this is a perfect example of a question that I hope you guys will answer in the live chat. What is one dessert you would never turn down? For me, I love lemon squares. Like I love lemon. I don't remember the last time I had lemon squares. There are three. There are three desserts that I just love and don't have very often. Lemon squares, number 1. Why don't I eat more lemon squares, everybody? Kimberly, if you are watching this right now, remind me to talk to you about lemon squares because we could do it gluten-free and it would be delightful. Anyway, lemon squares, which I hardly ever have. Cheesecake, which I hardly ever have. And Rice Krispie treats, which I have often. I also really do love a really good chocolate chip cookie, and my wife makes some really good gluten-free ones because in our house we have a child with celiac disease, so we have to be gluten-free in here. Yeah, but I think the lemon square is the one dessert that I would never turn down. If I were on like if I were an ultimate fighter and I had my weigh-in tonight and I was overweight and I was cutting, I was in a sweatsuit and I was cutting, I was getting as much, and somebody says lemon square, Gavin, I'm eating it. I am eating it. Question number 2, Kelly asks, Kelly has asked a lot of questions. I like Kelly's questions. Do you look for a bargain? Kelly, this, I don't mean to sound all hoity-toity like Moneybags McPhee over here, but that is not the first thing that I look for. Now I am married to a bargain buyer. She will not buy anything unless it is a bargain. For me, the value proposition isn't how inexpensive is it, it's how useful is the thing and how much do I need that utility. And I'm willing to pay for it. In fact, most of the time, there are cheap options, but I will opt for the more expensive one. That's typically me. And Kimberly makes fun of me because when we were young and poor, we needed a refrigerator for the house. We were buying it used on Craigslist. A guy asked for $30 for a refrigerator, and I had 2 20s, and I said, keep the change. My wife's like, how are you the only person on Craigslist that negotiates up? Like we were still newlyweds. She didn't know me very well back then. Yeah, value is not not value. Cheapness, inexpensiveness, the bargain is not what I'm looking for. It is how much I need the thing and what is the quality of the thing. That's really what it boils down to for me. And question number 3, that's also a good one that you guys can answer in the live chat. Question number 3, is there one habit you are having difficulty breaking? I have a habit of cracking my knuckles and my back and my neck and my knees. Basically, I'm a bone joint cracker. But once I learned that it's not unhealthy, I stopped trying to break the habit. So, do I have another habit that I am trying to break? I don't think so. There probably are some that I should, but yeah, that's the one thing that's probably annoying to other people is that I am a knuckle cracker and just a joint cracker. My back, my upper back, my lower back, my hips, my knees, my ankles, my toes, my wrists, my fingers, even my jaw. I pop. I think the only joint that I don't pop is my elbow. I don't pop my elbows. Other than that, I'm kind of, that's kind of me. So you tell me the answers to the questions in the live chat. What's one dessert that you would never turn down? Do you look for a bargain? And is there one habit you are having difficulty breaking? That one by Cindy, who also has sent in quite a lot of really good questions. And while you guys answer those questions, I'm going to get into headlines. Here we go.
True crime headlines.
Okay, guys, I've just got a couple of articles, a couple of quick headlines that are in the news today in the world of true crime. Yesterday and today, actually. The first one came down yesterday. This from Court TV. Judge rules no new trial for Texas teen convicted of track meet murder. This is Carmelo Anthony, right? And this is an interesting one. This is actually really interesting to me once I learned the details. That there was this agreement between the lawyers that they wouldn't bring up the character of either the defendant or the victim. And it was because of that agreement that Carmelo Anthony decided not to testify. I think that this was something that was worth the appeal, and it probably will be appealed higher because it's an interesting legal question. Okay. Dateline, McKinney, Texas. A Texas judge denied a teenager's motion for a new trial, sending him back to prison to serve his 35-year sentence. Carmelo Anthony, 19, was convicted of murder in the death of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, who was killed at a track meet. Anthony never denied stabbing the victim, but had argued at trial that he was acting in self-defense. The two teens had started arguing at the track meet in April 2025 because Anthony was standing under the tent for Metcalf's school, which the defendant did not attend. While Anthony's appellate attorney successfully had trial judge John Roach recused from the case, they could not convince Judge Michael Chitty to reverse the jury's decision. Anthony's defense had argued in its motion for a new trial that Roach had violated the defendant's right to a fair and open trial by limiting media and public access to the courtroom. The motion also alleged that prosecutors violated a gentleman's agreement in which both sides had agreed not to introduce any character evidence for either the defendant or the victim. Basically, what happened here is that neither the defendant, Mr. Anthony, nor the victim, Mr. Metcalf, were pure as the wind-driven snow. Turns out that both of them were teenagers and kind of bad kids, right? Both of them had their issues. There's evidence that Mr. Anthony was like just Stabby McStabberson. He really liked stabbiness and talking about it. And Mr. Metcalf had other issues, including suspensions and all sorts of problems that he had having to do, I think my characterization of it anyway would be like just a teenage temper. And I'm not like, they both were troubled kids, I think. And they agreed, the prosecution and defense, that they would not bring up any character stuff, but if it were brought up at trial by neither party, then that opened the door. And so that made Anthony go, well, I don't want to be on the stand and accidentally open myself up for a character assassination. So that was his argument. Now, let's see. The judge said, upon reviewing the motion, the record, the evidence and argument, the briefs, and the relevant case law, the court has determined that the motion should be denied. We respect and expected the court's decision denying the motion for a new trial. Collin County District Attorney Greg Willis said in a statement to CBS, the jury's guilty verdict stands and we remain confident in the process. I'm sure. Let's see, one of Anthony's attorneys, Russell Wilson, told CBS, we respectfully disagree with the ruling and remain firmly committed to protecting our client's rights. We believe the issues raised in our motion are substantial and deserve meaningful appellate review, meaning we're going to be appealing this, which is fine. I think it's worth appealing. I think it's worth answering that legal question. In the Lindsay Clancy trial, guys, writing for AP, Michael Casey writes, Lindsay Clancy criminally responsible for killing her kids, according to a psychologist. After nearly a month of testimony, jurors in the Lindsay Clancy murder trial are hearing Tuesday from the final witnesses in a case that has largely been about her mental state when she strangled her 3 young children. Testimony resumed from a forensic psychologist hired by prosecutors to evaluate Clancy's psychiatric history and assess the defense claim that she had acute postpartum psychosis when she killed Callan Dawson and Cora Clancy in January 2023 in the basement of their Massachusetts home. The rare mental illness can follow childbirth. It's not as rare as you think. I mean, we went over that. Kirk Heilbrunn told jurors that he didn't believe Clancy's claim that she hallucinated a voice telling her to kill her children, who ranged from 8 months to 5 years old. He said he instead believed she took their lives so they wouldn't suffer after she killed herself. Quote, everything I did as part of this evaluation, the evidence much more strongly, in my opinion, supported the second explanation, which was the serious suicide attempt accompanied by killing the children out of love. Wouldn't that also indicate some psychosis? I don't know. Guys, I don't take sides on this sort of stuff, but I just don't think. I think that Lindsay Clancy is probably not criminally responsible, but it's going to be hard for a jury to not convict her. Anyway, let's see. So that prosecutors are expected to call at least one more witness Tuesday. That was today. That will be followed by closing arguments, likely no earlier than Wednesday. And this report was made just like an hour before we started, so there's probably more that has happened in the case today. Okay. Whew. Hey, Wanda, we've gone through. Oh, let's see. No. We got to do this in order, Gavin. Guys, those are your headlines. There we go.
True crime headlines.
Okay, before we go into good news to finish out the day, let me just check to see what you guys are saying, answering the 3 questions. Deanna D says cheesecake. Cheesecake. Tina says any chocolate, candy, cake, brownies, but my recent favorite has been Ferrero Rocher chocolate hazelnut bars. I do love a chocolate hazelnut bar. We've got Texas sheet cake. We've got apple crumble and ice cream. We got bubble tea. We've got tiramisu, which most people call tiramisu, which drives me crazy because I'm snobby that way. Marie says key lime pie. Nina says my favorite dessert is my own white chocolate and lime cheesecake. Oh, that sounds delicious. A good lemon meringue pie, says Mary. Delicious. Elizabeth says creme brulee. I'm bougie. I do love a creme brulee. I love the carcinogen taste of the flambe, I guess. It's funny. Tina says, I haven't been able to crack anything in a decade at least. Oh my goodness. Jennifer says, I would never turn down gluten-free lemon meringue pie. That does sound delicious. I do love a lemon meringue pie. Becky says, lava cake a la mode. Question 2, I raised a dozen kids. Yes, I look for a bargain. Bargain isn't always the cheapest. And question 3, I have no habits I want to break. Peter Cetera had a hard habit to break. He did. I'm just assuming I think, was that Chicago or was that Peter Cetera? It doesn't matter. It was a hard habit to break, though. Mooney says, loved thrift stores, especially vintage. I need to travel a ways for the good ones in Virginia. Penguin says, do you pop your toes too? Yeah, I do. Robin says, Gavin, my neurosurgeon would be most unhappy hearing about you cracking your neck, jaw, etc., etc., etc. Don't do that. Hey, you're not the boss of me, Robin. You can't tell me what to do. I'm my own boy. I might have some issues. A couple more before we go. Ms. Bree says, in addition, Carmelo Anthony said he didn't trust the prosecutor since the prosecutor said he didn't anticipate Carmelo testifying. Yeah. Jennifer says, I'm a bargain queen. I start shopping for Christmas and scan sales starting in January. My family also refers to me as Santa Jen. I love the gifting, the rapping, listening to Christmas music. Christmas music is that is a delightful time of year. Melissa says pecan pie, pecan pie for all of you when Harry met Sally fans. And Elizabeth says Chicago sang it, but I would guess that is a Peter Cetera composition because all of the Sappy Love songs were written by Peter Cetera, and I'm all about the Sappy Love song. Thank you, Peter Cetera, for the sappiness included in your love songs. It's delightful. Okay, guys, oh no, Gavin's trying to end early. Wanda, we need some good music to transition to good news. Lay it on us. Oh, she's doing the yacht rock tonight.
Clear the mind, catch a smile, enjoy the view. Here's some good news just for you.
Guys, you know I'm a sucker for animal good news, but also I'm a sucker for good news that shows the human spirit. And this one does. This one from a couple of days ago from People. Over 3,000 endangered mountain frogs and tadpoles released into the wild. I don't know. I think that's kind of cool. Apparently they do this every year. Written by Bailey Richards for People. Look at that cute little frog. You think if you kiss that frog, it turns into a prince? Maybe. I remember with our 2 daughters that are part of our older gang when they were little, we did a little father-daughter camp out at a frog pond, and at night we would go and we would catch the bullfrogs and kiss them and see if they were trapped princes. It was fun. Okay, thousands of endangered frogs have been released into the wild in Southern California as part of a decades-long conservation effort. So far in 2026, the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance has reintroduced more than 3,000 mountain yellow-legged frogs and tadpoles into the San Bernardino and San Jacinto Mountains. Yes, we pronounce it San Jacinto. It's San Jacinto, but it doesn't matter. The native California species historic range, the nonprofit shared in a press release on Thursday, August 20th. Bred at the organization's Beckman Center for Conservation Research, the tiny speckled frogs have been reintroduced at several different high-elevation mountain habitats, including Bluff Lake in Big Bear Valley. The newly released amphibians have been part of a conservation, breeding, and reintroduction program which began as a simpler rescue effort since 2006. These latest efforts continue the work of the San Diego organization and its partners to restore mountain frog populations in the area. Oh, look at that. Look at those cute little guys hopping out of that container. There's a guy in his waders in a pond. That's pretty great. I think there's another. Is there another picture? Oh, yeah, there's another one. Endangered frogs being released into the wild. Anywho, let's see. The 3,000 frogs released this year will continue to be monitored following their release. Conservation teams continue to monitor reintroduced frogs to track their health, survival, and success in their native mountain habitats, the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance said Thursday. Including this year, the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance has reintroduced more than 10,000 mountain yellow-legged frogs into the wild. That makes me happy. I just, I love people taking care of our world. I love the idea of bringing an endangered species back from the brink, and it just shows that there are just good people everywhere doing lots of good things in their little areas of expertise and passion, and I love it. I'm here for it. I think it's awesome. And I think you're awesome. I think you're awesome for staying all the way to the end. Thank you. You're awesome for supporting me. Thank you for the super chats tonight. Thank you to my patrons, my members. Speaking of patrons and members, tomorrow is Wednesday. That means we got an after show. Should we talk a little bit more about Penny Doe in the after show? I've learned a lot more about her that I could share, including some more photos. I don't know. We could also just do an Ask Me Anything. We could just have maybe I could just dump a bunch of 3 questions. Maybe we could just go through a bunch of 3 questions But we will be doing an after show tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. pretty much directly after our regularly scheduled program. Remember, I've got all the links that you need for me down in the description below, including my website, the tank, my Facebook page, Spotify, the everything, Crime Cod, the whole shebang. So check out those links. Check me out on Facebook. Thank you for listening to the podcast version of this and watching on Spotify Premium Video if you have such a subscription. That really does help the channel, guys. I can't even tell you. It's like 7 times I make 7 times the money per 1,000 views on Spotify than I do on YouTube. And it just, so I'm not asking you to go out and get a subscription, but if you have that subscription, I would love it if you would watch over there, especially if you're on the rewatch crew. All right, with that, guys, I bid you adieu. Thank you very much for being here. I will catch you tomorrow. Take care.